Yeah, and today we got Stop Motion Movies Are Evil by that boy Waves. What's good, YouTube? It's your boy RJ. Alright, y'all. So before I hit this play button, I ain't gonna waste y'all time. I need y'all to leave a like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff. And yeah, if y'all like the content, please do all that. Please do that. If y'all want more, you know what to do. Come join the family, all that good stuff. If y'all want more videos like this, if you like me and y'all like my personality, let's go.
Now, when it comes to entertainment as a whole, I consider myself a connoisseur. I've seen a lot of different genres, from things like comedy, action, mystery, and adventure, to even the most crazy, insane, mind-boggling shows that you can't even comprehend, like Sesame Street. But the point is, I've indulged myself in a lot of TV, from being a kid who was out here watching 18-rated movies, to me becoming an adult and still watching cartoons I used to watch back in the day, like the Golden Generator Rex. That's top 10 Cartoon Network shows of all time. I love this shit growing up, low-key. However, as a kid who spent most of his time on the TV, so I wouldn't be out here annoying my parents like crazy, there was a certain demographic of movies I hated. I used to cry myself to sleep when I would see these. They would run through my mind non-stop and give me some of the worst nightmares you could have. Dreams like being chased by the things I saw in those movies, or just imagining myself in the main character's shoes. When I would finish watching these, I would never leave my room. I would start locking all the doors in my yard, start sprinting upstairs when all the lights would turn off, and start wearing blindfolds like it's Bird Box, because they terrified me, man. And while I was drafting up this script and playing back these memories, I was thinking I would explain and give you guys a detailed understanding, an informative explanation, a very interesting educational perspective of why stop motion is evil. It's evil. It came from hell, and half the movie.
I can definitely say that stop motion, the movement in it is very creepy, but I wouldn't say all that. You know, I mean, obviously, I'm not stupid. Obviously, but he's exaggerating. But yeah.
To come out here just hella weird. Like, explain how most stop motion movies are creepy and unsettling. They know it's witchcraft. And to further argue my case, I will be bringing up multiple stop motion movies that I know we all know are horrifying. So without wasting any more time, let's get into it, man. Now, the first movie I'm bringing up to the stand is none other than Coraline. And if you haven't seen Coraline, who hasn't seen Coraline? This movie is demonic. That's what.
Yeah, that junk here is crazy. I think I've seen that junk years, like a long time ago, and I barely remember what even happened. I might have to go back and watch it again.
You need to know, I'm sure we're all familiar with Coraline. Coraline is up there with being one of the most creepiest childhood horror movies of all time. This, Monster House, and the TV show on Boomerang, Casper's Scare School. Okay, I used to mess with this show. It was on Boomerang. It's goated. Now, if you've never seen Coraline or you don't remember the story, let me break it down for you and explain to you, man, why this shit is pure evil. So our story begins with Coraline and her family moving to their new apartment complex at Pink Palace Apartments. And this shit just sounds like it would also definitely be in the hood. I could recognize a horror name like that anywhere. The name is terrible. Anyways, we see that Coraline's family is getting settled in. And god damn are these man, bro. They tipped the mover $1 for all of that. Man, that's a Mr. Krabs stand pan shit. They really cheaped out here. And instead of 1, you could have given him 5. And that vibe would have changed his life. You never know a man's situation, bro. It's disheartening. So while her parents are getting settled in, Coraline goes out exploring looking for an old well. And in her little search, she meets the homeboy Wybie, who tells her that his grandma owns the Pink Palace and he's surprised that Coraline's there, since his grandma doesn't rent to people with kids. And that's already mad suspicious. What do you mean your grandma doesn't rent to people with kids? That's strange. In fact, she probably made that mad clear with the advertisement for the apartment. Shoot, I mean, Coraline's parents probably took it because the rent is definitely £1. It's hard out here, man. Coraline them.
Sorry, y'all, but I was just saying, that is a little so weird and suspicious. Like, what problem do you have with kids? People moving in and have kids? Like, are you afraid that the kids are messy and they're gonna tear up the apartment and you gotta come clean it or something? But other than that, that's all I can think of. Like, why would you be afraid, or why would you not rent the apartment out to people who have kids? Sorry.
Makes her way back home and goes on to tell her parents about her encounter with Wybie in the well. But they don't give a shit. They're just out here working, neglecting her, and not even listening to anything she had to say. And at first, you would think her parents are terrible for forgetting their daughter was even there. But now I stand by them because they're cooked. They need money, man. They need the dollar bills. Are you forgetting they tipped a man $1 for moving all of their shit? Man, they have no food. They're out here eating mush. Like, come on, they're struggling. And while she's talking to her mom, she passes her a weird thing Wybie found at his grandma's. A Coraline doll with button eyes. Well, that's not gonna matter later, is it? Then Coraline goes about doing her business, trying to fix that one part of the carpet, marking the broken windows, hanging on doors, killing bugs, taking a shower in mucky water, looking at the boiler, and turning off her dad's Wi-Fi. You know, typical kids activities. She's really just taking notice of how much of a shithole her new crib is. Until she finds something weird. Coraline then stumbles across a small door and she's invested. She wants to know where this leads. So she goes ahead and asks her mom to unlock it for her. And then there was nothing behind it. So later on, as she's about to go to bed, something weird happens. While she's in bed, she gets visited by a mouse and decides to follow it, which then lured her all the way back to the small door. And instead of it being a brick wall and blocked off, it became a doorway. And as the young, smart, intelligent 11-year-old Coraline is, like any other kid at that age, she decided to go risk her life and explore it. So she started crawling through the tunnel and go through it, only to come out to the exact same room on the other side. Then Coraline starts smelling and being drawn to the smell of something that wasn't mashed up food. And she finds her mom cooking in the kitchen, but something was different here. She had buttons for eyes. And I don't know how Coraline was unfazed by this. Bro, are you not creeped out by this? How can she see you? She then tells her that she's her other mother and then directs her to go get her other father for dinner. And you see her other father? He's the GOAT, man. He's a musician. And he's made up somewhere crazy.
I wanted the word cuppa, as in cup of tea. I thought it would be great to
that on face.
when I saw the domain was
Talking about making up a song about Coraline. So after he finishes the song, they get to eating, and this food was looking bussin'. They had that good chicken, a gravy train, and a birthday cake that would spell itself out. That's dope. Coraline then gets to bed, and her room was just popping. Those talking to her, toys moving themselves, and her pictures coming to life. The other mother then gets rid of Coraline's rash on her hands, and then she goes to bed, sleeping like an angel. And then she wakes back up in her old crib. So then she starts telling her parents about the crazy day she had in the other world. And they still don't care. Then her mom tells her to go ahead and visit her neighbors, with her meeting the man himself, Mr. Bobinski, who at the start of the movie was doing squats on the roof. Out here eating beetroots. I know his breath is kicking, fam. Coraline then delivers his mail to him, and then he gives her a special message, saying that Max told him to tell her not to go through the door again. And then leaves climbing up the house. And then we meet Mrs. Fink and Mrs. Forcible, who used to be in the performing arts together. And Mrs. Forcible? I'm not gonna say it because I don't want to get demonetized, but how is this allowed in a kids movie? Mrs. Spink then goes on to bringing out her psychic knowledge, because she can tell you your future by reading tea leaves. I ain't gonna lie, that makes no flipping sense. She then sees her hand in the cup after Coraline drinks the tea, and then a jar of sweet spray. Coraline then finds YB, who's outside looking for slugs, and she goes on to asking him how he found that door for her, and he replies with saying it's been with his grandma longer than the house was there. And that's mad suspicious. How was there a doll of Coraline in a specific fit before she even pulled up to the crib, even before the house was even made? How is that a thing? It's not adding up here. It's low-key weird. Coraline then goes back to bed, and the mice come back after she laid out some cheese for them, which she uses to follow the mice back into the doorway to go see her other mother. And then the other mother tells Coraline to go get her father. No, you mean my other father, right? Your better father, dear. Yeah, red flag, red flag. Look at this shit, Coraline. Open your eyes, bro. She's weird. So then Coraline gets her other father at the garden, and then she gets told she was invited by the other world's Mr. Babinski to come watch the mice perform. And then the other mother reveals that there's another YB too. But in this world, he can't talk. The other mother made him that way, so Coraline would feel a lot better around him. And you see this? You see this? I realized this when I first watched the movie at 6 years old, that she was evil. So then these two go ahead to go watch Mr. Babinski and the mice perform, and then Coraline wakes back up in her shell. And after a long, hard day of being neglected once again by her parents, not letting her buy gloves or even believing her on the other world, Coraline just said bun it and went back over to the other world by herself. And over there she gets a whole new fit and gets invited down to go watch Mrs. Spink and Mrs. Forcible perform. And on the way down, she meets the same cat from her world, who can now talk. And then he runs away. Then Coraline sits down to watch the play Miss Spink and Miss Forcible invite her to. And again, I don't want to risk anything here, but how is she built like this in a kids movie? I can't be the only one.
What? Wait, she's built like what, bro? I know y'all seen it. I'm obviously not going back, but what, bro? Hold on, y'all.
Beast Boy. Thinking about this, it's weird, man. So while the movie goes on, shenanigans go down. Miss Spink and Miss Forcible unzip their bodies to become younger. Her other parents meet up with her outside, and then the other mother was out here threatening YB to smile. It was crazy. And then, ladies and gentlemen, this moment is when you finally realize this was a horror movie all along, and it's weird as hell. The other parents then start persuading Coraline, saying that she can stay in her world forever. But for her to stay, she would have to sew buttons in.
You called a monster.
You gotta do what now? Alright, get also out my face.
in her eyes. They wanted to take her eyes out and make her one of them. They were plotting this shit from the beginning. So with no hesitation, as soon as she heard this shit, Coraline paces all the way back to her room and tries to go to sleep so she can go back to her world and never return. Only instead she couldn't go back. She was stuck there. She couldn't leave. And right after this is when the truth finally gets revealed. The other mother created the other father, and then the cat told Coraline that she created an entire exact replica of her apartment complex and neighbors but better to convince Coraline to stay with her forever. She's creepy, man. She literally shaped reality for a child. Who does this? So Coraline then goes to confront her about all this bullshit to let her go, and then the other mother starts transforming. She breaks into her true form. Some bony, lanky, horrible makeup, washed down version of Slender Man. She was clapped, man. She then looks Coraline away in some mirror dimension, and you know who else was in there? The 3 ghost children. And you learn that the Beldam, aka the other mother, sewed buttons into their eyes and took their lives. And also, remember how YB talked about how his grandma had a missing sister? Well, she was one of the ghost children. She was killed by the other mother. Then other YB comes in clutch, getting Coraline out the mirror and helps her escape back to her world. But he couldn't make it. R.I.P. YB, man. We love you. So now Coraline exits the tunnel and she's finally free. She doesn't have to ever return and can finally live happily with her parents again. Yeah, the other mother kidnapped her parents. So now Coraline gets into her serious bag, starts gathering supplies, gets a mysterious crystal from Miss Spink and Forcible, and makes her way back to the Beldam to go ahead and save her parents. Coraline then challenges her to a game, saying that she's got to find the eyes of the 3 ghost children and her parents. And if she can't, then she stays with the Beldam and she got to sew buttons into her eyes. With the other mother agreeing, and straight up just disappears. Coraline then finds the first eye, which is with the other father, rest in peace to the goat. The second with the other Miss Spink and Forcible, who became some weird candy creature. And as she makes her way to the third eye, we just see YB clothes hanging off a flagpole. Oh my god, YB, you deserve better, bro. This is my guy, man. This shit had me tearing up. He didn't deserve this. Coraline then gets the third eye, but she's running out of time, and the world around her starts crumbling. So she finally gets the last standoff with the other mother, who's straight up ashy. Oh my god, she needs some Nivea, man. God damn. She got cracks in her skin and so needles behind shit. I know in a good way, so don't try and twist her. So as Coraline spots her parents in the snow globe above the fireplace, the other mother was bullshitting. She was never gonna let her go. So with that information, Coraline dashes the cat out, her W cat, and then the other mother just locks off the entire room and turns it into some spider web like the demon she is. And then Coraline starts climbing for her life and gets into the door and closes it shut with the help of the ghost children and starts running for her life in the tunnel and finally escaped. She came back to her real house, she saved her parents, the ghost children were free, and life was beautiful again. Until the other mother's hand came in and started dragging Coraline. And then the goal YB came in clutch and smashed the hand with a rock. That's the goal, man. With them finally defeating the other mother by dashing her hand into the well. And that's Coraline. So now, ladies and gentlemen, let's cut the shit. This movie is evil. The other mother
that movie definitely was creepy.
Souls, made a whole pump.
Yeah, I ain't gonna lie, that movie definitely seemed like it was creepy.
Dad, a candy fusion, a flipping rat man. She was built like Slender Man. She wanted to do the same to Coraline. She was creepy. Even the way she ate that cocoa beetle was disgusting.
Ew, wow.
Closed the door on her and it started slamming closer. You can't tell me you weren't terrified by that as a kid. We all were. And as much as Coraline is a kid's movie, it's not a kid's movie. This shit is evil, man. Now, spinning off of Coraline to speak about the next movie, I will be talking about the most horrific, most scary, most terrifying, most satanic movie ever. James and the Giant Peach. And I'm not gonna lie to you here.
I don't think
However, if you
I don't think I've ever seen this movie before. But yeah, we're gonna see if it's good or not. I don't think I've ever seen this.
Open your eyes, open your mind, open the door and start looking at it differently. This movie was definitely projecting some evil shit. So let me break it down for you, man, and explain why this shit was low-key weird. And first off, his parents were deleted by a rhino. And we don't even know how that even happened. It just happened. 1 second they're chilling on the beach, enjoying themselves, being a family and enjoying their company with one another. It was beautiful. And then the next scene, James just by himself. Where's the kill? His parents were just pecked off screen. What happened? So because of the untimely demise of his parents, James had to go ahead and live with both his Aunt Sponge and Aunt Spiker, who were just ugly, man. Out here showing their toes, you're nasty. And these two were making James's life hell. They were making him work his ass off on their hill house, doing a bunch of chores for them. And when they caught James with a piece of paper about New York his dad gave him, they just start ripping the paper and start dissing his parents, calling them stupid. These guys suck. They were even out here feeding them fish heads, man. They're cruel. So as the movie goes on, James starts singing, a spider ends up in his room, and then he pushes his auntie downstairs. And while he goes about his business, he then meets a creepy old man outside, who for some reason has a bag of 1,000 crocodile tongues. And how the hell did he get this
What?
shit? He must have been
And-
out finessing crocodiles. Some
and
of the
why
arts
you
be saying,
have
man,
that?
He's evil. And the old man goes ahead to give James the bag of tongues and then just disappears. And then from the bag comes something amazing, something spectacular, something so peculiar. It was crazy to watch. A peach grew onto the dead tree outside the yard. And then it started growing into a giant peach. And with this new discovery they all made, his aunties, while using it to get money, they stole his shit. So while James is cleaning up around the peach, he started following the tongue which bounced its way toward it. And because James is a kid and is naturally curious, he decided to start eating a peach. And then a wormhole in it appeared. So James started climbing through and started transforming. Got a big ass head now. And as he reaches the end of the wormhole, James meets the bugs who...
Oh, I think I've seen it. I think I have seen this movie before, but it was so long ago I forgot about it. Yeah, I think I have seen this before.
live in the peach. And this,
Because
my
I remember
friends,
the
is where the
bobbleheads.
creepiness begins. Because none of these men would be friends or roommates. It's cat. They would all eat each other. It's some bullshit. The spider would have taken everyone out. Why is the grasshopper built like this? He's got one giant eyeball, one normal one. What does it mean? The worm? Hell no. The centipede from Brooklyn? No. The silkworm that just hangs at the top? No. They're all evil. James and the bugs then become friends and decide to go travel to New York together. So they rode the peach off the cliff and now they're in the ocean. And you see this? A child was stranded in the middle of the ocean in a peach with talking bugs. Imagine if you were here, you would crash out. This is weird, man. Then shenanigans go down. They get seagulls to fly the peach. They fight some steampunk shark robot that look horrifying. They sing a song about eating peaches. We see James's nightmare where he's running from the rhino.
Sorry for the ad, y'all. Another one.
Ready to start a hands-on career? At Universal
And then they find out they're lost. So the centipede jumps into the freezing water to go get a compass from the sunken ship. And then Jack Skellington wakes up. Then the pirates tie him up and we're about to kill him, end his life, chop his head off and finesse him. But then the spider and James come in clutch. They come to save his life. And then they get out of there with the compass. And then the spider kisses centipede on the cheek. Fine shit, man, fine shit. But now they finally made it to New York. They were about to be in the big city. And James was about to finally achieve his dream and go to the place his parents wanted him to always visit. Until the rhino showed up and this shit was terrifying. It came in on smoke as a giant storm like Galactus in the second Fantastic Four movie. It was out there to kill him, man. It was on smoke. The rhino took his parents and was about to take the life of a kid. No hesitation. It was about to finish him. I know for a fact a lot of us were shook at this as kids. It's a demon cloud. So the rhino just flung the bugs off the peach and sends James flying. But with that,
Nah, that's
he finally
crazy.
made it to New York and landed on the Empire State Building. And somehow his aunties made it all the way to New York. And how the hell did he
How?
do that? It's not possible. Then James starts exposing them, talking about how they were terrible guardians that ruined his life. And then the bugs come in, finish the aunties, and James gets settled down in New York. And it was such a happy ending, man. It's gonna make me cry. But it's still criminal. His parents died to a rhino. He
Yeah,
got
that's
finished by
crazy.
the same rhino. His aunties were evil. There was some weird shark creature, Jack Skellington and his pirate crew, and he was boys with bugs. As much as this was a childhood classic to most and is creepy yet addictive to watch, it's still a little shaky.
Yeah, it
So in
definitely is.
conclusion to talking about James and the Giant Peach, it's evil. And now we have the most horrifying, most creepy, most disturbing,
last one,
most
yo.
dangerous person in all of stop motion history. This individual is such a creature, such a monster, such a demon that he is one of the worst villains of all time. And he is one of the biggest reasons as to why stop motion is heinous. And so I don't
Alright,
waste
who
any
is he?
more time and get to it. The person I'm speaking about comes from the show Wallace and Gromit, and it is none other than Feathers McGraw. Now, if none of you
I had
know
a
what the
feeling
hell
he
I'm
was gonna
talking
talk about this penguin.
Wallace and Gromit is a legendary show to come out of UK. It's definitely top 5 with Horrid Henry and Peppa Pig. But we're getting off track here. Feathers McGraw is evil incarnate. This penguin is something else. Like, just take a second to stare at him. Look at his eyes. He's a psychopath. Now, hopefully, we're all familiar with some of the biggest criminal masterminds. Walter
Yeah, I
White,
will-
Tommy
I
Shaw,
will say
James
that.
Sabre.
The penguin or whatever his name was, I forgot what his name was. I will say that he was definitely creepy. I didn't watch this movie that much. I think I might have seen it like at least 3 times.
Patrick, Brian Franklin Saint.
But
But
that's not
none
that
of these
name.
men compare to Feathers. Cause this penguin? No, this isn't just some ordinary penguin. This is Michael Myers in disguise as a penguin, I swear. And as soon as I go over some of the things Feathers has done, you'll understand what I mean. So Feathers makes his first appearance in the movie The Wrong Trousers, where Wallace decides to rent out a room for money so him and Gromit can start paying bills. And that's how Feathers came about. He took him up on the spare room. And look at this man, he has no facial expression. He just stands there staring at Gromit. He was always sus. Then the whole entire first half of the movie, Feathers' whole plan is to just take over. He takes Gromit's Grommet's room, starts moving extra nice to Wallace, and tries to take his spot as his roommate, until this actually affected Grommet and he decided to leave. And now Feather's real plan starts coming together. He started working on changing the techno trousers to his liking, got Wallace in them, and made him run around the city until he got tired. Then he started measuring the side of a building and figuring out the calculations, the schematics, the plans. But the worst
I remember all this.
preparations, the most heinous and evil thing this man committed, was when he started wearing a rubber glove to act like a chicken. This is crazy, man. He's impersonating another bird. He's a fiend. So now Feathers has completed everything he needed to do to begin his assault, his fiendish idea, his horrible goal to rob a museum. By using the techno trousers with Wallace in them and remote controls, he piloted Wallace all the way to the museum, made him scale the side of a building, and then had him walk through the entire museum to steal a diamond. And look at Feathers. He's stressing, man. He needs the shit to be perfect. And then he sounds the alarm. Feathers and Wallace make a break for it back to the crib, and now he finally has the diamond. Then, as soon as Grommet comes to take him down, this sicko pulls a strap out of nowhere. Where did it come from? It wasn't in the bag. Only the diamond was in the bag.
Yeah, I was just about to say, where did he get it from?
Anyone has a pocket universe, man. He's crazy. Feathers then puts Grommet in the cupboard with Wallace and tries to escape. Then all these men get into a high-speed chase, and then Feathers is out here busting shots in the middle of the house. Where are the neighbors? Are they not hearing none of this shit? They must be deaf, I swear. Eventually, Wallace and Grommet beat Feathers and get him over to the police, which turned him over to the zoo, which got them some reward money to pay off their bills, and the day is saved. But then Feathers returned again in the latest movie, and I haven't seen it, but I know he was on some criminal shit.
Yeah, for sure.
Is such a different kind of villain because he's expressionless, has no backstory, nothing to justify his action or even humanize him enough to understand anything about him. He's just a penguin on violence. Throughout the whole movie, he just moves in silence, messing up Wallace and Grommet's relationship, doing his shady shit on the side, and was about to shoot a dog. The guy is evil. And the worst, muggiest, biggest mystery behind Feathers is what the hell is in his briefcase. I know it's some crazy shit. But hey, as much as I rate a lot of stop motion movies like The Goat Paranorman, Frankenweenie, and others I used to mess with, some of them would traumatize me as a kid, man. Obviously, that ain't the case no more. I'm a grown-ass man. I ain't afraid of nothing. Shit, I think...
Oh, yeah. I ain't gonna lie. That was one of my favorite stop motion movies. Well, two of them was The Nightmare Before Christmas and just like he said, Frankenweenie.
Movies like Smile, goofy as hell. Okay, I'm lying. This movie's horrific. Well, the point I'm making is that as a kid between the ages of 5 to 7, I thought these movies were made to jump scare you. They were something else back then. But if you agree with me and thought I was speaking facts, you get it, man. You get it. If you got any more stop motion movies that used to scare you as a kid, put them down in the comments below. I love all you, man, and I appreciate you.
Yeah. Dope video. Another dope video by the boy Waves. Hope you guys enjoyed. If you did, please leave a like. If you have not already, comment down below what y'all want to see me react to next, and leave your thoughts and opinions on the video. Let me know what else I can do to make everything better. Subscribe to my channel if you have not done so already. Turn on the post notification bell so you never miss when I upload a video. Share this video, share your cool stuff, and yeah, it's me, boy RJ, and I'm out of here. Peace.